there's more for you, you feel it. You know it. This is your life, and it's time to go from contender to champion. This is the show. John Madsen.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. Hope you all had a phenomenal weekend. I wanted to rip into this episode with something that's been on my mind and something every single person out there should listen to. Take a deep look at how you're doing this in your life and how it's affecting your outcome. I believe 100% that your ability to make decisions is going to determine the quality of your life. And I know that sounds deep, or maybe that sounds like I'm over-exaggerating, but I can promise you that the ability to make a decision is something that is lacking across men, across women, across children. People have forgotten how to make a decision with finality. And how I've come to this topic and why I wanted to speak about it is in my everyday life, I talk to people who want to get in shape. Basically, I'm in the fitness industry. I talk to people on the telephone. I talk to people face to face. And every single one of these people, the process to which they find out about me is either one of two things. One, it's a referral from a friend or family. Somebody knows me through somebody. They reach out. They want to get in shape. We go through the process. Number two is people see me through whatever marketing channel that I'm using. Usually a Facebook ad, usually an Instagram ad. They click on a link, they go to a landing page, they type in their information, they give us their cell phone, their email, we follow up. If it's an online virtual client, we're going to call them on the phone. If it's an in-person person, we're going to make sure that they get in for a free consultation so that we can discuss their goals and they can tell us what they're actually looking for. Pretty simple process. If any of you run a business, this is just lead generation 101, and something that if you want to stay in business for a long time, you're going to have to get predictable lead generation. If not, your friends and family will dry up in a heartbeat. You can only build for so long without expanding your network into people that actually don't know you. So the key to staying in the business is to constantly generate leads of people who actually want what you have to offer. Now, after that process, and for the past year, I've sat across the table from over 1,000 people. And again, I'm not over-exaggerating because last year we sold 400 front-end 6-week challenges in my in-person gym. And we've continued to sell front-end offers at my gym. And now we're coaching virtually all over the United States. So I'm on the phone with people. So in the past, I was the only salesman. I was the only person who was selling them. So I sold over 400. And knowing that, I would have had to sit across from almost 1,000 people. I close it a little bit better than 50%. I mean, sometimes I'll be on fire and close at 80%. But I think overall, this isn't about sales. This isn't about business. This isn't about my closing ability. This is about some things that I've seen, and I know when a person's going to be successful. I know when a person's going to fail. I know when a person is in a relationship that is doomed. I know when a person is in a good relationship. And I can tell based on one of our previous podcast episodes when we talk about language patterns, I can tell really, really quickly when it comes to making a decision. So many times we go over a person's goals. We're starting at 200 pounds. We need to get down to 140. I feel like crap. I don't like looking at myself in the mirror. I want my clothes to feel better. I have confidence issues. I have low self-esteem. I need this. Adamantly need this. Go through the presentation, show them the different programs, and voila. Here comes the spouse objection. I need to talk to my husband. I need to talk to my wife. And for anybody who's in sales, you're going to instantly jump to the conclusion that there wasn't a good enough pre-frame, blah, 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 blah. If you've never sold, then this might not mean much to you. But believe me, we're pre-framing. Before they sit down, I ask them 100% bluntly if they're in control of their own health, and can make a decision today by themselves. They'll say yes. But somehow at the end of the presentation, they go back on their word and they need to ask their husband or wife for permission to get healthy, for permission to do something that they really want to do. Sometimes there's a rule in their household, if they spend over $150, that they got to let each other know. And that's okay if you want to be in a relationship like that. I'm not. My wife sure the fuck doesn't need to ask my permission if she's going to better herself in any way, shape, or form. I made a financial decision to hire a coach last year when my business wasn't doing what I wanted it to. I had to make a decision on the phone, a $16,000 decision, without her permission. And guess what? I knew it wasn't going to go over well if I didn't perform after hiring this coach. I backed myself up into a corner. Nobody wants to have that conversation that, yo, I spent $16,000 and the shit didn't work. But here's the thing. If you're going to live the life that you really want to live, you're going to have to make decisions for yourself. Now, I'm not giving relationship advice or financial advice. I just know that if you need to ask permission and you don't get it, there's going to be resentment. So, multiple times, as a person who's going to make this sell, I have a motto. I'm okay with yes. I'm okay with no. I'm not okay with maybe. Because at first, when I just started selling and really selling, I ran my business for 8 years just on word of mouth. That's an easy sell. That doesn't count. When someone comes to you and their friend told them about it, they're coming to you with their wallet open. But when you're getting people in the door and you're trying to make a sale that day, I learned really, really quickly that if I let people hang around in maybe, that they weren't ever going to come in again. They were going to, as soon as they walked out the door, no matter how much they know they needed fitness, I wasn't going to see them again. And therefore, I was actually doing them a fucking disservice. If they walk out the door and I know that my program's the motherfucking best program and their best chance of success, it's actually my duty, my moral obligation to sell them to get them the result that they came in there for. Once I realized that, I became a salesman. Once I realized that, I was able to fill up my gym, fill up my schedule. Because I realized that if given the choice, people were going to hang around in maybe. They were going to talk themselves out of it. They were going to go home and ask their husband, who was going to say no. They were going to go home and ask their wife, who was going to get mad at a $500 purchase. And yes, multiple men have not been able to make a decision because they needed to ask their wife. It's almost 50-50. I hear it from both sexes. It's not just a housewife needing to ask permission from a husband. It's a husband needing to ask permission from their wife too. So when I decided to switch and say, you know what, John? They can fucking say no. I don't care. But they're going to make a decision today, yes or no. If it's a maybe, it's a no. So now when I talk to someone up front, I tell them that. Very first of the presentation. Can you make a decision about your own health today? You don't need anyone else's permission, correct? Correct. Awesome. Because Susie, I'm going to give you an offer today that you're never going to get again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the different options we have. And at the end, if we want to work together, we're going to go ahead and do it. If this is something that isn't going to work for you, then we're going to go ahead and say no. What I can't have is for you to have to go home and ask your husband, or for you to get permission from somebody else, or for you to think about it. If any one of those situations happen, then we're just going to go ahead and say that it's a no. And you're not going to get the promotion that I'm promoting today. Cool? Cool. So here's what happens. Get to the end of the presentation. Ask them if they're in or out. Super simple. Hey, are you in or are you out? Some people get all confused about sales. It's easy. Are you in or are you out? Oh, man. I didn't know that it was going to be this kind of financial decision. You know, if one of us spends over $150, we made an agreement that we have to ask each other for permission. Cool. Real cool. So it's a no. And I don't get upset. I'm just illustrating a point that's a huge problem. What I then say, great. If you need to ask permission, here's the deal. You can call your husband right now. I'll walk out of the room, discuss it with him. If he says no and he doesn't want you to be happy and healthy, then, I can't help you. We'll just mark it down for a no. But I can't let you leave without giving me a solid answer. So multiple times I've had people call their significant other, be on the phone for 10 minutes, hang up and say they can't do it. Multiple times there's been tears shed. It's not that they don't want to do it, it's that their partner in their relationship is not allowing them to do something that they want to do. So, going off on this tangent, I don't know if this episode's about sales. I don't know if it's about relationships. I know that I won't stand for any of that bullshit in a relationship. I know my wife would not stand me telling her what she can and can't do. And we respect each other for that. Because if I told her no and she wanted to do it, that resentment's coming straight back on me. Now, I'm no relationship expert, but I know that that shit ain't good over the long run. So be really, really careful if you're listening to this podcast. Think about if you have to give permission or if you have to get permission. Either one of those scenarios is probably not going to end well. Now, what does this have to do with fitness? What does this have to do with you bettering the outcome, bettering the circumstance of your life? I've just realized that people can't make any decisions. You ask them what they want for dinner. They don't know. They're indifferent. You're with a group of friends. What should we eat? Nobody speaks up. They can't make a decision. And it's just a microcosm of their life. Usually these people aren't the people who are firing on all cylinders. Their fitness is on point. They're business is on point, they're financially set. Those people those people make a decision. Male or female. I want to get in shape. Bam. Decision. $500, $1,000, $5,000. Doesn't matter. I want to better my business. $16,000. Cool. And I'm not talking about making stupid financial decisions. I'm just talking about making a decision and living with it. So my message today, and what I want you to work on, if you can better one area of your life, stop waffling in your decision making. Your decision making, it's a muscle, just like we train in the gym. Every time you have to make a fucking decision, you're getting better at making a decision. So no more maybes. If you're with a group of friends and nobody knows how to make a decision on what to eat, be the leader and make the decision on where everyone's going to eat. So I promise you, I wasn't always super decisive, but I've made it a priority to be the person who, if nobody can make a decision, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to make a decision on what I want to eat. I'm going to make a decision on what we're going to do on the weekend. I'm going to make a decision on what we're going to do for date night if we have one planned. Because if you can make decisions, you're going to better the outcome of so many other things in your life. I can promise you. So think about that over the next week, over the next 2 weeks, over the next 3 weeks. Am I able to make a decision? Can I get better at making decisions? Because if you can't make simple decisions and you want to be in business, or you want to be a CEO, or you want to make, you want to rise to the top of, your corporate ladder, chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to improve your life. If you can't make little decisions, how the hell are you ever going to make big decisions? So go out there and train this muscle. I promise you, it will enhance your life.
Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of The Show with John Madsen. The greatest compliment that you could give us is liking, loving, and sharing this episode with all of your friends. So please go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and then share it online with everyone that you know. Make sure to tag John as well. He loves to hear from listeners of the show. The links for all of his socials and iTunes are in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to engage John for anything related to his coaching, consulting, or programs, please visit johnmadsen.com for everything you'd need to know on how to engage with John offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Show.